I've been using MS Excel for more than 10 years now, and today I'm going to show you the top 5 functions that I've used the most in MS Excel throughout my career. These are the functions that you will need almost everywhere, and they can be used for tackling most of the problems in MS Excel data analysis. The first function that I've selected is the filter function. For example, we have a data set here where we have the date column, state, district, village, case reported, and the reporter who is reporting the case. So we have some cases like polio, malaria, cholera, chickenpox, and some others which are reported by these reporters from different villages, districts, and states on different dates. We want to select this data based on a filter. For example, in this state column, when we select a state from this drop-down list, we want all the data from this table to be listed in this right side table based on the selection criteria. For example, if I select this first state, malaria, I want all the records from malaria from this table to be listed here. So what I can do is to say that filter, I want to filter this entire table, and the table name is cases. So what I can do is to select cases, comma, what I want to include this state column, and I want to say that this state column must be equal to this selected state, and I want to close the parentheses, press enter. It will give me all the data from the selected state. If I come here and change the state from malaria to Dorado, it will give me the updated data. If I select another one, it will give me the data according to the selection criteria. This is the first scenario. We have another scenario. For example, if we have multiple selection criteria, for example, I want cholera cases in malaria state to be listed here in this table. What I can do is again to come here, write filter, select this entire table, and here the table name is cases 2. When I select cases 2, it selects the entire table here, comma, again I want to include two things, state and case this time. To include two criteria here, we need to have parentheses and two conditions. So for the first one, let me open parentheses, select this state column again, and I can say that this state column must be equal to this selected state, close parentheses. This was the first criteria. Now I want to add another criteria in the include parameter here. So for that, I will add an asterisk, which means that include this condition and another condition. So for another condition, I need to open another pair of parentheses. This time I will select this case column, and I can say that this case column must be equal to the selected case here. Close parentheses for this condition, close parentheses for the filter function, press enter, and it will select only cholera cases in the selected state. If I change the state, it will update the table here. We can see it. If I change the case, it will update the table again from cholera to polio. So this was the second scenario of using filter function. If we come to the third scenario, we have the same table again, but this time we have 3 criteria. I will not work on this. I will leave this to you. So make sure to work on this and populate all the data from the left side table and the right side table using these 3 conditions. The second function that I have selected is the sequence function, which can be used in most of the cases in day-to-day data analysis using MS Excel. In the first scenario, we have outpatient consultations. Again, we have a health-related data set where we have health facilities listed here, date, and the reported data for under 5 male, female, over 5 male and female. So here in the health facility column, I want to list all the health facilities. We have 15 health facilities, and the name of health facility is like HF_1, the second one is HF_2, and so on. So if I write it manually, I can do it like that as well, but here I want to use the sequence function, which will do the magic for us. For example, I can say equals, first I have health facility underscore, this is the constant text that we have in the name of every health facility, and then I want to concatenate, so I will use the AND operator concatenate with sequence. Sequence function here gives us number of rows. For example, I want to have 15 rows, so I will add 15. It will give me 15 different rows from 1 to 15. Let me add 15 here, close parentheses. If I press enter, it will give me HF1 to HF15. So this is the first scenario of using the sequence function. In the second scenario, again we can use it for health facilities, but this time I want to use it for the date column. For example, I want to add all the dates of the December month for 2023. So we can use the date function here, date. In the date function we will specify the year, then we will specify the month and the day. If I close parentheses and press enter, it will give me only the first day of December 2023, but I want 31 days here. So for that, again I need to write date function. In the year I need to mention 2023, in the month I need to mention December, and in the day I need to mention sequence function for having 31 different rows here. So I can say sequence, give me 31 days, close parentheses for sequence, close parentheses for date, press enter, and see the magic. We have 31 different dates listed here, 31/12/2023. That's it. This was the second scenario. In the third scenario, I want to add the date not manually but automatically. I want to automate this process. So whenever we select a month number from this reporting month column, we should have the dates of that selected month here in the date column. So what I can do here is to add equals date, again 2023, and the month is now not a manual, but we will select it from this drop down. So let me select this cell, comma, and with the dates I can say sequence. And again in the sequence number of rows, we don't want to add it manually, but we want to add it automatically. So what we can do is to add another function, XLOOKUP. I want to say that look up this cell's value and this list of month number that we have here in this table, and then according to that month number we want to return the number of days. If we select January from that reporting month column here in this small table, then the January here refers to 31 days, and the XLOOKUP, it will return 31. If we select February, the XLOOKUP will return 28 for February. So close parentheses for XLOOKUP, close parentheses for sequence, close parentheses for dates, press enter. Now we have NA because we haven't selected any month from here. Let me select March first. If we select March, we can see that we have dates for March, 1st of March, 2nd, until the end. Let me change the month from here, select February. Now the month is changed to February. So this process is now automated. We can do it in another way as well. Instead of selecting reporting month number, we can select reporting month name here. For example, let me select March, and we should have March dates here. For that, let me delete this function again and write it from scratch. So I can say date. In the year I can say 2023. The month should be automated, and this time we need 2 times XLOOKUP function to be used in 2 different places. First of all, I need to use it here, XLOOKUP. So I want to look for this value and this month name column of this small table, and then return the number of days. So for that, let me select this March from this table, comma, I want to look for this month name, and this time I want to return the month number. So close parentheses, this will give me the month number for this date. Now let me add a comma, and for the day we need to use sequence function, and again sequence function this time should not return manual number of rows, but it should be automated. So again I am looking for XLOOKUP. In the XLOOKUP function I need to use I3 here, the selected month name here from reporting month column, so that is I3, comma, I am looking for that in this month name column again, and this time I'm not returning the month number, but I'm returning the days. So I need to select this days column, close parentheses for this XLOOKUP, close parentheses for sequence, close parentheses for date, press enter, and again we have days for March. If I select another month, instead of March, if I select July, we can see that those dates are changing. If I select December, we have month number 12. So these are the three different use cases for sequence. We can have a ton of different use cases for any function, and I have used the best of them, and I have selected these three for this video. As we have seen the XLOOKUP function and this sequence function, let's now have another variation of the XLOOKUP function. XLOOKUP function actually looks for a value in a table and returns another value from the same table based on the selected value. For example, we have this table which is employees table. You can see the table name here, and I want to select this record that I have highlighted here. For example, we have these three columns. I want to select any record from this table based on this selection criteria. So I've selected Thomas Taylor from IT department. I need to use the XLOOKUP function to look for this record in this table and return that record in this right side table. So what I can do is to add equals XLOOKUP. I want to look up for a value, but here we have three different conditions. If we have one condition that we saw in the sequence function, where we use the simple variation of XLOOKUP function, we were looking for a simple value, but here we are not looking for one value, we are looking for these three different values. So for that, I want to look for value 1. Value 1 means true, and I need to give the conditions in this lookup array. So in this lookup array, I need to add three conditions, and each condition will be enclosed in a pair of parentheses. So I want to start parentheses here, and I want to say that this first name column from the employees table must be equal to this Thomas from this table, close parentheses. Now I want to add another condition. For that, I will start another pair of parentheses, but before that, let me add an asterisk to mention that this is another condition. Open parentheses. This time I want to look in the last name, and that last name must be equal to this last name selected here, Taylor. Close parentheses, add another condition, and this time I'm looking in the department, and that department column must be equal to this IT selected from here. Close parentheses for the condition and close parentheses for the function. Before closing parentheses for the function, I need to mention what we want to return. In the return array, we want to return this entire table. So for that, just mention the table name employees. Now close parentheses for the XLOOKUP and press enter. We have this record. For example, if you want to look for another record, Linda, what I can do is to come here, select Linda from here, Linda, and the last name is Miller, and Linda is in finance department. Select finance. It gives us the same record that we are looking for. So we have different variations of XLOOKUP function, and we have another dedicated video that you can find it here, that is based on 5 different scenarios of XLOOKUP function. I'm sure you will learn a lot about XLOOKUP in that video. The third function that we have selected is the SUMIFS function, which is very important in day-to-day data analysis using MS Excel. For example, we have this transactions table that you can see, and we have a query from the manager that we need to sum the revenue of the sales department in the North region. So we have this table, we have transaction ID, date, department, project code, amount, region, transaction time. We need to answer this question: sum the revenue of the sales department in the North region. So what we can do is to add a filter here. For example, if you want to do it in a difficult way, we need to add a filter, select revenue from here, and check everything, revenue, okay, then this is the sales department. So from the department column, we need to uncheck everything, select sales, okay, and after that we need to select North in the region. So uncheck everything, select North only, press OK, and this is the amount that we are looking for. It will be 4,400 that you can see the sum of amount here. But we do not want to do it like this. We want to use a function to calculate this sum. So we want to return the sum based on this query. What we can do is to add equals SUMIFS we have this SUMIFS function. What is the sum range? We want to sum this amount column from this table, that is the sum range, comma, what is the criteria range 1? Criteria range 1 is the revenue from this transaction type. So we can say that this transaction type must be equal to revenue, okay, comma, criteria range 2, another criteria, the department must be sales, that we can see from here. So I will need to select this department column, comma, and I need to say that this must be sales, comma, what is the criteria number 3? In criteria number 3 we want to select north in the region, so this region column must be equal to north, close parentheses, press enter, and now we have 4,400. So this SUMIFS function basically gives us the sum of amount based on a given criteria. Let's move on to the second scenario of SUMIFS function. In the second scenario, it says that calculate the total expenses of P200 project during the first quarter in 2023. It is a little bit different. So again, we need to add the SUMIFS function. Okay, in the sum range we need to select this amount because we want to sum amount here, comma, total expenses, so the transaction type must be expense, add expense here, comma, project code must be equal to P200, and another criteria is that this should be during the first quarter in 2023. This is a little bit tricky. So the first quarter we can get from the date column, so I can say that in the date column this should be greater than or equal to 2023-01-01. So it should be greater than the 1st of January 2023 because we are selecting from 1st of January till the end of March, that is the first quarter, comma, again this date column, this should be less than or equal to 2023-03-31. Add double quotes, close parentheses, press enter, and now it says that the sum of amount based on this specific criteria is 2,140. That is the second scenario of SUMIFS function. In the third scenario, we have 3 different questions that I will not answer here. I will leave these 3 questions for you. Make sure to answer them and leave your answers in the comment section. Let me remind you that this workbook will be available for you through a link in the video description. Let's now move on to the last function of this video, that is the text function. We use text function to format almost anything. So for example, we have 3 different scenarios here. In the first one we have a date and we want to format this using text function. We want to see day, then we want to see the month name, then a dash and the year. So what I can do is to add equals text, select this value. I want to format this value to this specific format that I want to specify. So I want to specify DD space MMM for the month name and 3 characters, space a dash, space YYYY for year. Add double quotes, close this parenthesis, press enter, and now we have this date formatted into this date. This is the first scenario. In the second scenario, we have amount column and I want to format that amount to this specific format. So let me add text function again, select this value, comma, in the format text I want to format it like the above. So I want to add $, hash, comma, hash, 0.00. Add double quotes, close parenthesis, press enter. We have now formatted this amount to this special format that you can see here. Now let's move on to the third scenario. In this scenario, I want to create an identifier based on this serial. So what we can do is to add equals. Let me write here manually, then a dash, add double quotes, and now I want to print the year. So for that I can say that use year function, and I want to get here from today's date, close parentheses, and I want to add another dash, and this time I want to print this number as well. So after dash number, then another dash, add double quotes, and I want to format this serial to this number. So I can say text, I want to format this serial to this 5 digits number. Add double quotes, close parentheses, press enter. Now we have created an identifier based on this serial number. So we have year dash 2024 dash number 00100. So it has formatted this serial into 5 digits number. That's it. Text was the final function that we used in this video. I hope you have found these functions useful for yourselves. Make sure to work on those scenarios that I have left for you and leave your answers in the comment section. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your questions in the comments. See you in the next one.